So, good morning. It's a dark and rainy morning, so I'm so proud of you all for being here. It's like a perfect sleep-in morning. Let's start in Sphinx. Very simple, very easy. I often start my own practice here because I don't have to think much about it. You can take your legs as wide as the yoga mat. Maybe slide your elbows just slightly in front of your shoulders. And to come into the pose, you feel free to do some neck rolls. And in my own practice, I often like to drop my head for a good couple breaths, like 10 breaths or so, in the beginning of the posture. So wherever you are in your life, in your practice, just allow yourself to fully arrive here on the mat. Welcome your imperfections, your strengths and your weaknesses. We're gonna have a yoga party. We get very conditioned to think that some parts of ourselves aren't welcome. Or that nobody wants to see our imperfections. And that beauty really is a small sliver of life. But there's some magic when you pay attention, when you are paying attention. That your attention gives life and love if you let it flow. There's different seers or psychics or wise people who talk about when we meditate on someone with love, they become revealed to us. So just allow yourself to just take stock of where you're at right here, right now. If you've been hanging your head, feel free to raise it and let your shoulders gently drop down your back. And just notice if you can remember your dreams from last night. And then notice, maybe if you can't remember your dreams, you remember what feeling you woke up with in this morning. And before we come out of this pose, we're going to read the invocation from Orland Bishop's The Seventh Shrine. Infinite stars, infinite space, source of the knowledge of the world, giver of thoughts that empower creation, transforming light into the elements of matter. Radiate before my mind the 7 keys that unlock the doors of the mystery temple, that I may enter and fulfill the purpose for which my birth initiates. With your next inhale, lower yourself down to the yoga mat. You can take your forearms and just stack them and rest your forehead so your neck stays neutral. Maybe wiggle your butt side to side or shake your legs. Windshield wipering your legs. And then find your body coming to stillness. Stretch your right arm out to the right, coming straight out of your shoulder. Turn your face away from your arm. And then hug your knees up to your chest on your left-hand side. If you'd like more. Now, maybe somebody need a pillow? Yeah. Maybe you're ready to go a little deeper. You can take your left arm, reach it up, and see if you can reach back and hold hands with yourself. You might be very close. You don't want to lower your right arm too much. And if you can't hold hands, you can reach for it again. And you might see that with a little push, you're there, or, oh, see, you touched your pinky island, didn't you? You're so close. Can I give you an assist? It might be too much, but you can try it out, see how it feels. You also might be able to put your left foot on the ground. So perfect, you're all at different kind of stages of this posture. But all feeling the pressure on your right shoulder. And it's a healing pressure, so it should help kind of release stagnation, you can imagine. So take a couple breaths and notice how your thinking has been so far this morning. And you might not yet be fully awake, or you might have had a long day already. But observe. And then take a couple of breaths and just observe your feelings, your emotions, even your attitude. Take 5 more full deep breaths. And then roll to your center again. You can moan and groan, cry, laugh, whatever you do to let feelings move through your body, sensations move through your body. Noticing if you actually took 5 breaths. For me, I'm like, 5 breaths, I'm out of here. All right, stretch your left arm out. You want to make sure you're not lowering your arm too much. It's going to stay coming straight out of your shoulder there. Then turn your face away from your arm. Hug your knees up to your chest on the right-hand side for reals this time. And then stretch up with your right hand and see if you can hold hands behind you. And you might kind of have to wiggle around a little bit to get it. And then once you have the grip, see if you can lift your arms back up. If you can't hold hands, you can bend your right elbow behind your back. Take a full breath here, and with your exhale, just sigh it out. And then take a couple breaths to observe the energy in your body and also the sensations. And it's kind of a mean trick to ask you this in this pose because your attention goes right to your lower shoulder. But notice that. Notice the pressure on your shoulder. And then see what else you can feel in your body. I was thinking, it's so easy for us to be materialists. Like we've got a really good education in it. And so often we think of like, okay, we want to work from the solid and the physical and move our way up into the spiritual, or start with the physical and then move into the abstract, the invisible. However, this is the foundation of a materialist. So you often notice I do it backwards, that we start in the realm of dreams, of stars, and then move to this ever narrow place, coming down to this little piece of earth that we have. And I thought to myself, like, it's so, it'd be so typical if we did the plant thing. But I realized that so many plants, actually, the seeds drop down to the earth. They don't start from the earth. They drop down first. And then, after they bury themselves in the earth in the darkness, then they start to grow up again. Our relationship to this planet, to this earth, is so intimate. There's things that we can do on earth that we can't do anywhere else. There's elements that our physical body carries for us, that other beings that don't have a physical body like we do don't have access to, such as memories. In a lot of our conversations, I've been talking about how each one of us is a small piece of earth. That the same processes that happen out in nature, out in the world, on this earth, are actually similar echoed processes that happen in our body. And before your left hand turns totally blue, start to roll back to center, wiggle your fingers, moan and groan. And then bring your hands up underneath your shoulders, push your hips back to your heels, cross your ankles, roll over your crossed ankles. We're going to do the yin version of Jani Sharasana. I'll be your mirror, if I can remember how to do that. So you bring your right foot to the middle of your left thigh. If you're sitting behind yourself, either just sit up straight, or you can sit on books. That was probably the first yoga blocks, or pillows. That elevates your hips and you can tilt your pelvis forward. Now first, you're gonna do a little dance. I often say this is our little ska dance, so get your elbows up high. But maybe it's like a little stormy gnome. All right, and then we each got our things. It's okay, it doesn't have to be a gnome. All right, spin around over your extended leg and bow down to your beautiful left leg. Well, we find so much insight in talking about how we are the earth. Well, let's turn it around a little bit. The earth in its beautiful materialism, in its nature of being composed of matter. Maybe we need to start to recognize that our planet Earth also has a memory. Where has all of our history gone but into the earth? We talk a lot in our modern conversations about trauma that we store in the body. What trauma have we collectively stored in the earth? And how is it coming to a head now? Notice if you can soften and surrender more to this yin jana Sharasana. So if you've been practicing with me for a while, you've probably heard this verse a couple of times, but in this context, I want to read it again. It's Buddha's 5 remembrances written down by Thich Nhat Hanh. Are you marveling at my Waldorf book? I am of the nature to grow old. There's no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There's no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There's no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are the nature of change. There's no way to escape being separated from them. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequence of my actions. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. Now make this true for everyone in the world. And we come to this place of our actions are the earth upon which we live. With your next inhale, roll up, and you can do this really fancy change. Lean back. Oh no, let's just lean back with our right hand and stretch the left arm up. Reach long. It just feels so good. And then bring your hips back down. The dramatic change I was going for was this one. Ah! Whatever drama you need. Just a little. And then do a little dance. Maybe you're a little bit more hippie. Or maybe you're a little bit more grandma. Everyone's welcome. And then bow over your beautiful right leg. So I wrote this poem. I was when I was an organizer at YIP. I wrote this poem all about how wouldn't it be crazy if all of the hairs that we had lost had memory we could access, like they knew where they were, or all the cells that slough off our skin, like every living being actually leaves this trail of debris behind them. I mean, it is quite literally the earth. Our actions have their consequences. Like even if you're carving a beautiful statue, you're carving and you have this object that you're like, yes, but all of the different places that you've carved off of the statue fall to the ground. fall to the earth. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. And if we think about all of the biographies that we've heard of people who have passed away, reaching far back and then not so far, we can start to imagine that part of their nature, or one could even go so far as to say the flame of their being, has left the very earth changed because of their presence, because of their life that they lived here on earth. There is no place outside of this equation. Your actions and the earth. And what invisible forces guide us, help us, support us to transform all the suffering that has come before us and created this earth? And when we even start our practice with yin, with the watery nature, with the earth nature, and then we move into the yang part, the fire and air. These elements of matter become transformed in us. So take 3 more full, deep breaths. Yawning is also a deep breath. Well done, thank you. It's good, it's good. It's dramatically breathing. Laughing is too. And then raise yourself up, lift up, and bring your legs in. So you're gonna either do easy pose, not so easy pose, no, half lotus, or full lotus. Bring your hands to heart center. Feel the warmth of both of your palms. Let your thumbs touch your breastbone and let your elbows drop. Bring the length and strength into your spine, and with your eyes closed, empty your breath all the way, and let's sound 3 ohms. Take a deep inhale. Allow your hands to relax, unwind your legs, and find your way onto your elbows and knees. I mean, elbows and knees, no laugh necessary. Now, you're going to interlace your fingers, and you might have to adjust the bun on top of your head. It might be far back enough. Bear, you might have to do that. And then bring the crown of your head onto the ground. And then you're going to try and keep the base of your palms together. And imagine you have a really beautiful, fresh, gorgeous egg from the farm up the street. You don't want to break that egg. It would be a mess. Have you ever tried to clean up dried egg? It's horrible. All right, tuck your toes under and stretch your legs out. Thanks, Bear. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to feel that the very top of your head's on the ground. And a good check is find a perpendicular line that looks correct. You should feel that it looks upright in your chest. It's actually one of our 12 senses. If it doesn't, adjust your chin. Bring your chin either further, closer to your chest, or further away. And then when you're ready, you're allowed to start to walk your feet towards your face. Now, one thing to be patient with is you don't want to lift up your legs by jumping. You want to lift up your legs because it's as if they want to lift themselves. What happens is you roll your hips forward enough, and this magical moment happens where the weight shifts. It's just pure physics. And then you start to actually be able to float both of your legs up at the same time. Now, for those of us who are used to jumping into our headstand, this is really annoying and really frustrating. But see if maybe you can tiptoe your feet towards your face so your hips come over your shoulders. Notice if you're jumping, it's a little bit like putting a gun to someone's head and being like, come on, fall in love with me. Just got to remember, you got to kidnap them for a couple months first. No, just kidding. For the Stockholm Syndrome, get it? No. Now, notice if you have or you haven't lifted up. Allow your breath to help you. Are you breathing? Reach your legs up. Yes. Play into it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice, Pair. Does that feel okay? Let your hips come back. Stretch your arms out. Come into child's pose. It's the counter pose to headstand. So that's a very dramatic way of growing up, lifting up. Now with your next inhale, come up to your elbows and knees again. And this time, you're just going to have your hands go straight forward, imagining your middle finger is an extension of your forearm. And you're going to squeeze your elbows in so they're at least as narrow as your shoulders. And then tuck your toes under and straighten your legs. And notice you can nod your head, yes, yes, no, no. Without the yoga mat getting in the way. If your yoga mat gets in the way, it's not because if you have some freakishly long neck, it's just you want to bring your elbows back in. Now tiptoe your feet a little bit closer to your face, and then take your gaze to your fingertips. Now look at your fingertips and see if you can lift your right leg straight up to the sky. Snapple, crackle, pop. Squeeze your elbows in. Breathe life into the edges of your body. So try to straighten your right leg. Turn the pinky side of your toe down so it rotates your hip. Yes, nice, Paulina. And then switch your legs. Reach through your left leg, straighten your leg, take your gaze forward. Notice that you resist. Squeeze your elbows back together. Maybe lift up a little higher. And then come back down, child's pose. Let your hips relax. You can take your arms back behind you to let your shoulders recover. Sometimes that pose is called Embryo Pose. I also like to think of it as seed pose. You've been dropped down. And then stretch your arms out. And you want to stretch your arms out so straight in front of you in child's pose. You want to stretch your arms so much that your hips actually push back to your heels a little bit. And then tuck your toes under and lift your hips up to downward facing dog. keeping a small micro bend in your knees or a bigger bend in your knees if you have too much weight in your hands. And then find a little dance in your dog. So bend one knee at a time, wiggle your butt, maybe do some circles. Feeling really advanced, you can do some lemniscapes, infinity signs, but maybe even wiggle your face. You can do your good morning wows. So this was part of the first thing in face yoga. You drink hot water is the first thing in the morning, but you do some whole face wows. So you let your whole face go, wow, wow, wow. You can do it even silently. Take another full inhale. And with your exhale, empty your breath all the way and walk your feet in between your hands. With your feet together, inhale, halfway lift. Sometimes most likely you have to keep your knees a little bit bent. Feel your back straight, your shoulders coming away from your ears, and your chin moving away from your chest. And with your exhale, bow down. Let your spine round and soften. Let your head drop. And then root down with your feet and roll all the way up to the sky. Look up. Notice when you root your feet down, you lift up even higher. And with your exhale, Samastitihi. Bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, stretch your arms up, maybe a hint of a smile. Exhale, release and bow down, bending your knees as much as you need to. Inhale, halfway lift, feel your abdominals engage, and step back to plank. So your upper body got there first, and now you're just adding your legs. Now move your chin away from your chest. Most of us will be looking forward here at the front wall. And just start to shift exactly, Ellen. Shift back and forth. Shift to your toes and back, to your toes and back. Now I'm going to tell you, we're going to get this fire started, yeah? So you notice that the fire comes into your belly. So feel everything engaged. Now inch forward and then drop your knees, chest, and chin. This is Ashtanga Namaskar. It looks like an inchworm. I don't know what inchworm is called in Sanskrit. Then inhale, glide forward, low cobra. And with your exhale, release your head down, push back to your knees, lift up, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. Empty your breath all the way. Look forward and jump your feet in between your hands. It might be a jump walk thing. Inhale, halfway lift, drag your chest forward. Exhale, release and bow down. Push down with your feet, roll up to the stars, reach up high. And with your exhale, come back to center, Samastitihi. Inhale, stretch your arms up high. Maybe even a clap if your name's Paulina. And with your exhale, bow forward. Your name might be Paulina too. Inhale, halfway lift. Feel the power in your upper body. Your abdominals are engaged. Bend your knees more, no. Reach your chest forward. And then step back to plank. And this time, either stay like you are here, or if you want a little bit more fire, lift your right foot so it's just above your left heel. With your next exhale, do nothing. Inhale. And then keeping your legs like that, if you want the real fire, exhale, chaturanga, keeping your elbows close to your ribs. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We just have to remember to do the left leg on the other side, right? So wiggle your knees, find a little movement if that's what's necessary for you, what your body is calling for. Other times our body calls for nice and still moments in downward facing dog. Take another full inhale, empty your breath all the way, lightly hop your feet in between your hands, drag your chest forward, halfway lift, exhale, release and bow down, let your head drop. Push down with your feet, rise up tall, reach up high, look up, and with your exhale, thank you, come back to center, Samastitihi. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift, so you have a flat back here. It's a very active pose. And then step back to plank, and let's breathe here. So feel your fingers reach out, push down and forward. Lift up in between your shoulder blades. If in doubt, lift your butt a little too high. And now lift your left foot so it just hovers above your right heel. flexing your foot. Beautiful. Now inch forward, and with your exhale, lower chaturanga, keeping your foot lifted, and then inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Put a little sweet bend into your knees. Feel your hips lift up and back. You're reaching down with the first knuckle of your thumb and your index finger in the soft spot in between. Bend your knees just a little bit. Feel your hips get more activated. Your butts, like your gluteus maximus, are kind of like ready to pounce forward. And then just take a gaze at your hands. And you want to have all of your fingers spread out equally. Your middle finger is pointing straight forward, and you're pushing down with the first knuckle of your thumb and your index finger in the soft spot in between. And then if you've been practicing for a while, you can even lightly grip with the tips of your fingers. Take another full inhale, fueling up, bend your knees, lift your heels, empty your breath all the way, and float your feet in between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, drag your chest forward. Exhale, release and bow down. Then bend your knees, drop your hips, inhale, Kapatasana, which means intense or wild. So find the weight in your heels. Now, we're not going for the Pac-Man thing, and it doesn't feel so wild to be here, does it? So instead, feel that you actively squeeze your legs together, and you can sit onto an invisible chair. Like, you're so dope, you can respond, you can sit, you can be supported by invisible things. You know, like prayer or love or invisible chairs. Sit down, young man. Find the fire in your thighs. If you aren't there yet, go lower. Take another full inhale. And with your exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift, stretch your chest forward. And then either jump to chaturanga or step back to plank and lower chaturanga, chin away from your chest. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. And with your exhale, bring your knee to your nose. Your back arches, your belly lifts. Inhale, stretch your leg long. Exhale, again, bring your knee to your nose. Inhale, stretch your right leg long. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose. Now, at the end of your exhale, lift up even higher. Lift up your left heel and step your right foot all the way forward. And rise up, Crescent Lunge. With your exhale, you're going to tap your back knee down to the ground. Inhale, straighten both of your legs. Exhale, tap down. Inhale, straighten up. Exhale, tap down. Now you're going to stay this low. Stretch your arms out. Remember, you can imagine somebody invisible is holding your hands up. And now you're going to stay this low. Yes. Powerfully reaching back through your left heel. Now, either stay here, just lengthen your arms, or find a little bit more lift and a back bend. Take another fueling inhale, then exhale, sweet chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bring your knee to your nose. Your belly lifts up, your back is arching like a cat. Inhale, stretch your leg long. Exhale, pull in. Sniff it. Inhale, stretch it long. Exhale, pull your knee in. At the end of your exhale, lift your knee even higher. Lift up onto your right toes and step your foot forward. Beautiful. Rise up. Now, with your exhale, you're going to tap the mat with your right knee. Inhale, straighten both of your legs. Exhale, tap. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, tap down. Now this time, pause. You really want your hips to be even as much as possible. You're going to stay this low. Reach through your fingertips. And then just power back through your right heel. So you're allowing your right thigh to hug your hamstring. Reach through your fingertips. Imagine you have magical powers coming out of your hands. Because you do. Everything you do matters. Take another full inhale, maybe a back bend. Reach through your fingertips, darling. Exhale, sweet chaturanga. For me, darling can be any one of you. Inhale, upward facing dog or a low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. You might notice sometimes in your yoga class you have 1,000 names, which is actually appropriate at this time and age. But I might say one name with a correction, and you'll notice the same thing in your body. It's a very nice practice, actually, to do yourself. If you find yourself correcting other people, check yourself. Take another full inhale, fuel up, bend your knees, lift your heels, and then float your feet in between your hands softly. Yes, inhale, drag your chest forward. This is a lot of work to keep your heart open. Good for you. Exhale, release and bow down. And then bend your knees, drop your booty, inhale, Kapatasana. With your exhale, open arm twist to your right. Inhale, Kapatasana. Exhale, open arm twist to your left, reach through your fingertips. Inhale, Kapatasana, look up. And with your exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Feel the power in the center of your body, like the core of the earth, and jump back to Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Stretch your toes down to the ground. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. And with your exhale, tap your right knee to your left elbow. Inhale, stretch your right leg long. With your exhale, tap your right knee to your right shoulder. Nice. Inhale, stretch your leg long. Bring your knee to your nose at the end of the exhale. Lift up high on your left foot and step forward. Rise up, crescent lunge. And with your exhale, open arm twist to your right. Reach through your fingertips here. Inhale, get long. Go, gadget nails. I got to stop saying that. And then with your exhale, open up warrior two. Beautiful. Fake it till you make it. Bend your right knee. Let's breathe here. So this is an active hip opener. It means being very strong and open at the same time. It's a really hard combination. So you want to reach your middle fingers away from each other so the soft part of your arms like to tone. And you're going to bravely stack your right knee over your right ankle so the bone of your leg can help you. Now, if your thigh is shaking, that's okay. You want fire in your body. It's part of what helps your body be strong. Now, keep your lower body just as it is. And with your inhale, you're going to reverse your warrior. And with your exhale, you're going to fly underneath your right thigh. Stretch your wings out. Take another full inhale here, then place your hands to the inside of your right foot. Look forward, let your left heel lift up. Now either go straight to Chaturanga, or if you want to bend your elbows and take a little arm balance, try it out. The trick to start your training wheel is to bring your left elbow to your left hip. But with strength, you don't need it there. Inhale. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing doggy. Or Cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left side's going to be awesome. Stretch your left leg long. And with your exhale, bend your knee and touch your right elbow. Other right elbow. Inhale, stretch your leg long. Exhale, left knee, left shoulder, Yep. Inhale, stretch your leg long. With your exhale, bring your knee to your nose. Lift it up at the end of your exhale. Lift up onto your toes and step your foot forward. Rise up, crescent lunge. And with your exhale, open arm twist to your left. Reach through your fingertips here with the inhale. Get open. And then with your exhale, windmill to warrior two. So we're breathing here. It's an active hip opener. We're much more used to being taught hip openers in a passive way, either at the beginning of class or at the very end of class. Magical powers. This is in the middle, or actually towards the end-ish, but it's a fiery hip opener. I've never seen anyone's arms drop off. Reach through your fingertips. The people who've gone before you have given you powers and possibilities. Lunge a little deeper. Now keep your lower body the same, and inhale, reverse your warrior, lifting up out of your waist. And with your exhale, fly underneath your left leg. Your heart is facing the ground. Could it be possible that love is also one of the things that is activated by being here on earth? And then bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. Let your right heel lift up. So eventually you don't need any training wheel and your right elbow can be out in free space. But as you're starting, you can pull your elbow to your hip, then straighten your legs, bring the weight to your hands, then lift your right leg high and exhale, sweet chaturanga. Nice pair. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend and wiggle your legs a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then drop your elbows to the ground. Very nice. Now squeeze your elbows in. This is a wonderful posture to do with a strap between your elbows. Now look at your fingers and tiptoe your feet closer to your elbows and stretch your favorite leg up to the sky. Keep looking forward. And then play with lifting up into forearm balance. I know, Noemi, you just have 2 arms, but it's the forearms. Squeeze your elbows in. Imagine it's like doing handstand with really big hands, or walking with really big feet. Just think how unshakable you would be. You wouldn't fall over ever. I mean, unless you tripped over your huge feet. Okay, come back to child's pose. Let gravity help you. Take a moment to notice what you're saying to yourself. We want to start to notice that even internally, we apply our will to animate how we are on the inside. Now inhale, lift up to your knees with your toes tucked under. Cha-cha. Just your knees, no elbows. It's cool. Bring your hands behind your back. Squeeze your elbows together. And now let your hips slide forward. And then notice a lot of times we let our hips slide forward and we're like, oh yeah. But instead get taller. Now squeeze your elbows together. Lift up your head. Drop your head back. And this might be as far as you need to go in camel pose. But maybe you can drop your hands down to your heels. And then feel once you have a grip on your heels that you're pushing your hips forward, and if you let go, you would open up dramatically. Not in the good way. But that's how your power is. Or you can imagine if someone pushed you, you'd roll like a wheel. Then inhale, lift up. Come back to child's pose. You can take your arms back behind you to let your shoulders recover. Or if you prefer, you can have your hands in front of you. I mean, there's so many creation stories, not just the Norse myths, that start with fire and ice, with water and fire. These creative elements. All right, if you found yourself coming off the top of your mat, you might have to scoot back, but lift up to your elbows and knees. And then squeeze your elbows in. Now you can experiment. One of my good friends, Tyler, he prefers to have his hands interlaced. I prefer to have my hands down flat. Either one is helpful for different reasons. If your hands are flat, you're concentrating on pushing the insides of your wrists down. Now tuck your toes under, lift up your hips, look at your fingers, and start with your not favorite leg, and then play with it. It's those metal things, they'll kill you. Landing quietly. Do you know that even the biggest elephant can sneak up on you? Isn't that awesome? I just think it's really cool. I think we're going to have a sneaky elephant painting. Beautiful. Wherever you're at, find your way down. Let your toes relax. Take your arms back behind you. And then inhale, lift up for our last camel. You can also do Kapatasana if you prefer, which sounds like a drink, but it's actually a yoga pose. So, knees on the ground, hip distance apart, slide your hips forward. If you have the flexibility, you can already stretch out your feet. If you want your heels a little closer, tuck your toes, lift up your heart, drop your head back, grab onto your heels if it's there for you. And if that's too easy, You can start to either bring your arms up over your head and bring your elbows down to the ground, or grab onto your knees. You can grab onto your knees. Think about moving your hands forward. Now, in this powerful camel pose, we're going to confuse our animals and do a lion's pose. So stick out your tongue, look at your third eye, and with a whisper, roar like a lion. And then find your way back. Maybe wipe off your chin. Okay. Come into child's pose for just a recovery breath. What a good job you've done. Do you feel the fire in your body? Do you feel how it reaches everywhere? And then inhale up. And you can just drop to your sides and bring your right foot in front of your left knee. I'm being your mirror. I know it's confusing, because half the time I forget, right? Okay, stretch your arm up. Now notice I can just lift my arm because he told me to, or I can actually stretch my whole being up into the arm. And then with your exhale, twist away, lift up your heart. You want to twist the other way, my darling? Mm-hmm. Inhale, get tall in your spine. Without lifting your chin, lift the tops of your ears instead. These actions that you've been doing in our practice today, they also have consequence. They're helping you purify your organs so your emotions can be purer, your will more accessible, and your actions clear. Inhale, lift up. Should we go again for our dramatic change? You can use sound effects. It really helps things in life. Feel that you're rooting down with your sit bones. Your whole foot's on the ground, so maybe slide your left foot more in front of your right knee, and then stretch your right arm up, other right arm. Lift up even higher. Let it move you, what you do, and then twist. Inhale, get long and lifted in your spine. You can allow your left arm to help you sit more upright, or you can come into the full bind. Really nice head alignment, Noemi. So you keep your chin lifted with an L between your chin and your chest. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, twist. And then unwind. Plant your feet in front of you. Slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. Lift up your hips and roll your spine down. Then straighten your legs out. If your lower back hurts, you can have your knees bent. Take your knees as wide as the yoga mat with your knees dropping back together. Now lift up your chest away from, once your legs are straight and long, fully extended. They can be queer as hell. Lift up your chest, pinch your shoulder blades together, drag your shoulder blades down your spine, and then let your ribs drop back down. Palms open to receive. I have an extra scarf if someone wants a blanket. Just raise your hand. Turn your palms open to receive, or put your hands on your belly. With your next inhale, invite your breath to the edges of your body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes, your face and your nose. Feel your awareness carried on your breath. Maybe stretch your arms long over your head, reaching your heels away from your hands, and with your exhale, roll into a ball and curl onto your side. And just pause for a moment here, feeling the vibrancy and the vitality of your little piece of earth. Then help yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Allow your hands to meet at heart center. Feel your belonging by rooting down while you rise up. Empty your breath, and we're going to close with one Om. Take a deep inhale. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward together, we say, Namaste. And so much love. Make some noise. Woo! And if you're sore, do it again. It's one of the things that'll make you feel better.